Hi, folks, and welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
That's right. It's our live comic book review show here on ComicPop Returns. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications so you know when we go live every single week, Monday nights around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about the news and also some comic book reviews. There's not much in the way of news really going on, but
crap.
A personal bit of order is that Michael Haley, who played the voice of the Max in the MTV animated adaptation of the Max, passed away.
Aww.
And he was awesome, and I could never think of a better voice for the Max. And he's only 67, and he will be missed.
That's it.
I just loved that show. Was so well cast. Everybody in that was so great. I remember looking up the voices years ago where I'm like, what are they doing now? I remember the guy who played Mr. Gon got into anime, and
Nice.
I don't think the woman who played Julie did much of anything. Like, I don't know.
Right. Sometimes people just are like, this isn't for me.
Yeah, I'm out. You know what? That's fine. I don't have to do this anymore. But yeah, it was a real shame. I was just like, man, how cool was he? How great was he? Just such a funny time. Like, you know, I was reading this comic. Every comic you read, you don't even necessarily cast the roster in your head. You know, like Calvin and Hobbes. I don't know what Calvin and Hobbes sound like. I never had a voice for either of them.
Wow, neither do I.
Right? And for some comics,
I'm just reading them for the first time.
yeah, exactly. You're just getting into C&H. Myself, I never had a voice for the Max until I saw the show, which thankfully came out like forgivably quickly after I started reading the Max.
Sure.
But yeah, just no bad voice actors in that show.
Oh, that's nice.
And yeah, I just did a little reminder that the Max existed, and I loved that show. And arguably, the show was better than the comic book. Now, the show was also a one-to-one adaptation of the comic book, but any parts that they fleshed out were to the show's benefit,
Sure,
or to the property's benefit. I would argue that the Max never went anywhere. Like, that the show didn't do better.
Okay.
Like, the book needed to end,
Sure.
and you know, there's only like, I think 31 or something. Like, it's a really short run, though it did go on for like decades.
Okay.
Because just, you know,
Yeah.
Sam took his time, which
Sure.
I understand. But yeah, it's just funny, one of those things. Anyway, outside of having to talk about anything really in the comic book spectrum, there's not much really. I mean, like, I'm sure there's lots of stuff. For example, we just recorded another chat with Joshua Williamson, and
we didn't do anything.
Well,
you did that. I have nothing to do. I can't take any credit for any of that.
That's fair, but I do want to make sure that folks understand that this is not a normal occurrence. That this is because
that many have.
Yeah, this many,
like,
and
damn.
I know, but you know, but Josh was excited to, you know, answer so many questions. We're doing another one, and so that's going to be coming out. Well, that came out this past Sunday, and we may be recording another one to try and round out all the questions, and then we'll get back to the
and then
monthly
you won't see
format.
Josh for like 6 months.
Well,
He'll be like, that's enough Sal time.
Exactly, which
Except
I
that's not
completely
true.
understand.
No,
Josh and I,
no way.
and we'll occasionally text each other just for fun, you know, just to chat.
This is a humble brag.
Yeah,
You just humble bragged us. Yeah, whatever. I just text, you know, popular comic book writer.
Well, Josh makes sure to say that in the show. He's like, we talk off mic, you know, and I'm like, yeah,
I think that's
true.
very nice of him.
I agree,
and it is true. He's not just saying that to say it.
No, it's true. Sometimes we go to the movies together. You never know, or at least one time. And we happened to be in states that neither of us lived in.
Yeah.
But
then your wife had to figure out how to get Josh back for his signing.
That's right, because he really wanted to see Deadpool and Wolverine before everybody else, and we obliged. But also, he was like, I have a signing, like, I think it was like 30 minutes after the movie had.
Yeah, and then he wanted to go to the comic store.
Yeah, and we had to go to the comic book store right after it.
It's lovely.
Yeah, well, we went to the comic book store and it was closed before the show started.
Yes.
And then after the movie was over and the post-credit scenes were viewed, then we were like, okay, well, now we got to go to the comic book store.
Yes.
And I'm like, we're literally like a 15-minute Uber ride away, so it's really not a big deal. And it was, because there were no Ubers available.
Yes.
And then you had the right idea of using Lyft instead, which
I did. And
neither Josh nor I were capable of doing. We're like, well, this Uber thing, I mean, they said someone's coming. Oh, but no one's picking up. What the hell? And you're like, I just lifted it. It's on its way. It'll be here in like a minute and a half.
That's it. Like, listen, I don't do the interviews. I'm not great with that stuff, but I can get you a ride.
That's right.
Back to your signing.
And you did, and I'm sure he appreciated it.
I'm sure he doesn't remember that at all.
Probably.
I just remember being like, "Oh my gosh, I hope this thing arrives."
Yeah. Well, I was like,
time.
geez, here we go. This went from like a really fun experience to a really stressful experience.
I got a news thing. It's not really news.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Emma Frost has officially joined the cast of Marvel Rivals.
Yep.
She is a tank.
Right. That's interesting.
She was I don't know how well received she's been in the wake, but I will say every match I entered into, she was insta-locked.
Oh like, yeah, everyone
wanted to play Emma. I did get a chance to play her one time against like bots. I had phenomenal healers. She's great. She's sassy.
Sure. Well, she better
sassy
be.
AF.
Uh-huh.
They really did Krakoa justice. If you're a fan of Krakoa, there's like when in the last season when they did the Dracula thing, there was like a letter that pops up whenever you like loaded the game that like talked about why they picked that or whatever, right?
Right.
And this time around it was about Krakoa and how like the devs had actually read Hawks and Pox.
Yes.
And how it like really moved them, especially when like, you know, like Xavier and Magneto were like,
look at what we've built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were like, that blew their minds. And they didn't realize it had gone on for like 5 years.
They didn't realize it was over.
They didn't realize it was over, but they also had felt that like the idea of that had put together an opportunity for such incredible creative stories. And I was like, it's really nice to have like someone like put into words what you feel,
yeah,
you know, and to hear it from a totally different perspective. Like we're so like in this world that sometimes I'm like, I really like this and I think it's really amazing, but it's nice to hear someone on the outside who's like, I'm a game developer and I was reading these and like I just loved it. And it really just aligned with what they did. And I just thought they did a really nice job with it. You can literally go to the tree with the eggs.
Yeah. That's really cool.
It's gorgeous. I would literally just made a custom map and just ran around in it just so we could see it.
Yeah.
You like one of the points is the actual council.
Oh, cool.
Area with Krakoa there. Like the tree is there. And I was like, this is blowing my mind right now.
Yeah. I saw a post on social the other day that was like just an image, a wide image of the council.
Yeah.
And they were like, I miss these guys.
Me too.
And I was like, yeah, that was
too.
really cool. And it's so funny that like even the game devs from Marvel Rivals aren't ready for Krakoa to be over.
No, they're like, we want to do this
like no one was done with Krakoa except for Tom Brevoort. And
100%.
So there we are.
Yeah, and it's just phenomenal. Really, really well done. We're taking it like from like the Hellfire Gala, the celebration, there's fireworks, there's all of that going on. And I was really impressed. Like I've been like up and down when it comes to Marvel Rivals overall, like not listening to their fan base and stuff like that. But I have to completely like tip my hat to them essentially, in terms of their like getting it right.
Yes.
For them to look at Krakoa and be like, okay, listen, we have like 3 maps. Like it's one map, but it's like 3 sections. And for them to just kind of like capture the feel of it pretty well. There's even like portals.
Right.
Like the gateways
yes.
And you use them to like zip around the map a little bit. Great. And I'm like, well, as long as you're not Kitty Pryde, you'll be fine.
You're right. But you know Kitty's going to join the game eventually.
Who knows?
They have big plans. I know that I think it's like 2 where I don't remember how long. It's like, but they're very excited about getting like as many characters into the roster as possible. And it's like, look, the sky's the limit. Like you name a character besides, I don't know, Super Pro or the one who drives the truck at like, you know, or any of the
they probably have like an idea for it,
right? But like you could do slapstick. Slapstick could be a character, and it would be crazy.
Sure,
like a Junkrat type character.
But for me, I was just impressed. You know, they're probably not reading every comic out there, but
doubtful.
They specifically mentioned Hawks and Pox, and the fact that they read that, and I was like, that is what everyone thinks of when they think of like the best times. I think a lot of Krakoa was phenomenal, but for a lot of people, Hawks and Pox, it never got better than that.
True.
So for that to be the inspiration, I think is brilliant.
Well, and it also did its job. Like the job of, if you want to get into the X-Men and you want to start somewhere, start with Hawks and Pox, boom, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Even though kind of like, if you don't know the reality is if you watch the cartoon, or any of the cartoons, you're aware of these characters, you know? So, when Apocalypse walks in and he's ready to make peace, you're like, oh, this is a big deal. You know, But yeah,
So-
it would be good if you had some context for X-Men.
Yeah. But I just wanted to like give a shout out. If you're playing Rivals, I hope you're enjoying Krakoa. Really, really good time.
Yeah, and if you want to see Tiffany play Rivals, of course, you should subscribe over at youtube.com at
thanks.
ComicPop Plays. It's in the description below this video. If you want to just click that little carrot and just go down there, you'll see that there's links for everything we do here, including our little Discord server, which you could join at any time. There's an invite that's in perpetuity. Just click that and join up, and you can carry on the conversation after the show is long over. But yes, definitely make sure to watch Tiffany on twitch.tv/ComicPop or youtube.com at ComicPop Plays. So yeah, let's jump into some comics, shall we?
Sure.
I read Storm, of
Nice.
course, as I want to
Nice.
do. I really do enjoy this series very much. And yeah,
Cherry Blossom action, is this like appropriately themed for the season?
I think only in terms of the cover.
Oh, okay.
But it's it's interesting. It's I mean, like, Storm continues to be a really, really solid book
Mhm.
from Marewa Ayodele and Luciano Vecchio. This, Eternity essentially has chosen Storm as its vessel / herald,
Okay.
and so Storm is like dealing with being effectively a god,
Mhm.
and then other gods show up that are gods of the weather from different walks of philosophy and belief.
Okay.
And they challenge Storm.
Sure.
And Storm is taken for a ride, and perhaps other gods of the storm or thunder may show up, or at least are teased to arrive. And it's
Mhm.
just like the whole book is just kind of dealing with that concept of like Storm against mythology.
Right.
And it's just such a fun, smart book. This is an issue I was like, I know Tiffany isn't reading this series.
This sounds like something.
This
I'd
is
really
definitely
like,
something
yeah.
up your alley, where I think you'd really respond well to Storm.
That's great.
Just continues to be well done, well written, looks good, no complaints. It's with the soon to be ending of X-Force.
Yes.
This is going to be
This
the
is your
top
book.
X-Men book,
Interesting.
and probably the only X book that I'm reading.
Okay.
So yeah, read Storm if you haven't already.
All right.
Keeping on that X train, you want to talk more about this?
Yeah, I mean, I had a ridiculously light week, which is really weird in the wake of having a week where like I had like 11, 12 books. I only had a few books this week.
Yeah.
So I took an opportunity to just pop in and read a single issue of Uncanny X-Men. So
Which between the two is the preferred one.
Well,
This is-
I just was like, you know what? The cover was intriguing to me.
Yeah.
And so I grabbed Uncanny X-Men number 13, written by Gail Simone with art by David Marquez.
Yep.
And I mean, really, this was just check-in. I didn't expect to fully understand what was going on, but I really didn't struggle all that much. Obviously, I'm missing a ton of backstory here.
Oh, sure.
I like read a little preview of it, and like,
Yeah, you got the context page.
Gambit was in there, and I was just like, well, I might as well pick this up.
Yeah. I'm guessing the Gale was mad at David Marquez because there's a horse in it.
There is a horse. There's definitely a horse. Like maybe he was just like, no, I like drawing horses.
Yeah.
That's the thing that
Probably
artists
not.
say. Honestly, this seems like fun enough. Like I know I mean that. Like this single issue, I was just like, yeah, I get why people dig it.
Yeah.
For sure, right? Like mystery abounds.
Oh, sure.
With ties to the supernatural.
Yeah, and it's the start of a new arc, so it should give you some good context for what the hell's
It
going
did
on.
and it didn't.
Mhm.
Like there's
It's also
definitely-
13 issues deep, so
Exactly. So like I'm not holding that against it. I joined in on issue 13.
yeah.
I could continue reading from here, I think.
Mm.
Because we're watching a group of younger mutants go like and explore some like dark like secret. And like I was like, you know what? Like admittedly, yes, this is the kind of book that I normally might like jump into. And
Sure.
like maybe I'll keep reading it. I don't know. And then you have the other side of it where it's like Rogue and Gambit, and it's Gambit just talking about how amazing Rogue is. Like she's asleep.
Yeah, I can't argue with
And
that.
he's just spooning her, and he's just like, like you find yourself a good Southern like girl, like it's just cute.
Yeah.
And then like he hears like a voice talking to him, and like calls him like a thief and stuff like that. I'm like,
Mm-mm.
that's a dragon.
Oh,
It's
well,
just-
they fought a dragon. I
Yeah.
remember that in the earlier part of the
it's just
series.
it's Gambit and dragon. So I'm like, okay,
All right, yeah.
they're going on an adventure.
Oh,
To the Savage Land.
oh, okay, cool.
Sure. And it has to do with the Eye of Agamotto. It's like it's very coded to something I should be
Right,
reading.
Simone's like, all
but
right,
it's like-
Tiffany, you're not reading Uncanny. Here you go. I got no excuse.
It's
Now you
almost-
just don't like me, okay? You don't like me, and you don't like what's going on.
It felt like so coded to me that I was just like, don't try so hard. No, but it's not. It's just I haven't been super interested in this. But this was a good issue, and I fully admitted after Krakoa was like over that, like I don't think I was ready to just pick up and move on away from it. But now some time has passed, so this might be one of those things where it's like I don't know if this is enough to keep me reading it, but it might be enough for me to go back and grab some trades.
Okay.
This like where they are right now, I was like, ooh, I kind of would want to know more. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to like keep reading from here or go back and then catch up and then try to keep reading from that. But I like the art. It's fun looking. Gambit's super sexy, looks great. The horse is good. The darkness, like there's like these dark, spooky sections. And then we got like some stuff back in time too. Mm-hmm. Like it's all really well done. Yeah. Anyway.
That's fair. Well, speaking of nothing like this, I read Batman Dark Patterns. This has nothing to do with anything. It's just, moving on is what I really meant to say. I read Batman Dark Patterns. Dan Waters, Hayden Sherman continues to be by this team.
Wait. Is this the one where this is the series of Batman in which an apartment building becomes Scarface
is an apartment building.
This is the thing where it was just like you didn't like something that was going on in another book, but this was like totally fun.
Yeah, this was totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah, Scarface is taken over as a building, and it's just Dread. It's Batman Dread. It's like the Dread up. It's Carl Urban's Dread movie.
Yes,
Batman is assaulting a building.
Meets Mike the Evil Living Building. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever the hell that means. But yes, the it's what I mean. Like, if you don't want to read this, I don't understand you. Especially if you're a Batman fan. Especially given all the things it has going for it. Like you got, new hotness, Hayden Sherman drawing it. You got Dan Waters who gets the character. You've got it's set in the past. So Jim, Alfred, everybody's still around, alive, in their positions they should be. Right. You got Batman in a 90s centric costume, which of course rules. And you've got Batman fighting an unconventional villain that is a classic villain, but with new sensibilities. Batman's like, oh, Wesker, he's got him on the top floor. I got to get up there. Dread stuff ensues. He's got to get up to the top floor, but he's hard because he's by himself and the whole building's against him. And Batman's trying to figure out, like, why are the people who live here like defending these people? Of course, the reason why Batman isn't even trying to do anything with this building is because one of the cops has been taken hostage by Scarface.
Sure.
And so, it's just like they're all in a tough spot and they're being kind of like strong-armed / manipulated into
someone's
assisting.
Pulling the strings.
Exactly. It's like, that
puppets.
It works for me. But so Batman reaches his destination and then finds out it's not quite what you expected. And they don't last page reveal / tease you. Like it does have a last page reveal, but they don't go, who is it? And then you don't find out. Like you find out who the main perpetrator is.
Sure.
And I'm in for it, especially because like I was one of the few people who have always said, like, Scarface is stupid, but you could squeeze, like, you could get juice out of any citrus. Like, you could squeeze a little bit of juice out of Scarface. You can get like 3 good Scarface stories out of that lemon. And they're doing it right now. And this is one of the 3. Is this story.
Don't waste them.
No, they're not going to. And I love the image of like these people who work for Scarface. They're wearing masks of Scarface. It's just so silly and dumb. And I'm like, and he's talking through the, building, and he can't say bees because he's a puppet because, he can't move your lips. And so he says Gatman. Everything's a G. And it's like a holdover from the 90s, which is also brilliant because like this is set kind of in the 90s. It's like, oh my God. Smart move, great book, love it. And you should be reading it if you haven't already picked this up. Just read all of Batman Dark Patterns. Just pick it up.
Yeah. Nice.
Great book. I love the series.
Nice. Yeah. I love it.
Let's see here. Yes, it's time. We can't really beat this dead horse any further. It's time for you to talk about Doctor Strange of Asgard. And kind of like what's going on with this whole thing.
Okay. This is Doctor Strange of Asgard #2, written by Derek Galandi with art by Carlos Magnos. I don't...
Oh, before you start, I just wanted to say this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you watch the show live, you can sponsor today's show by using Super Chats. Well, feel free to ask a question or comment. We'll read it here on the show, and we'll do that at the end. The show, we're going to do the reviews. Then we're going to read your comments. Then we're going to recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. Just want to let people know what the format of the show is so they're aware. Sure. Just because I didn't want to get to the end of the show and go, oh my God, I forgot to tell everybody how the show is going to go. I know we're like 3 books in, but moving on.
Okay. Totally fair. So I really thought hard about this one, long and hard about how I wanted to talk about this book. This is a weird week for comics for me, where like nothing got me super like wow. And I thought I was like, maybe I just wasn't in the headspace for it, and I thought on it today, and I don't want to be super down on something, right? So instead of like critiquing this to death, I'm going to say a couple things, and then I'll move on. Like, for example, like I find this book to not be the strongest writing wise, and the plot really doesn't interest me, which is saying a lot when like I really love Doctor Strange plots, and this just isn't it for me. Like it's not for me.
No.
And I unfortunately don't think I'm going to be able to keep reading it.
That's
which
fair.
Is weird because it's only 5 issues and this is issue 2. And I just don't want to spend money on this.
Yeah.
I hope others find it interesting, legitimately. Like, and if you do, that's fine. There were people who really like Doctor Strange Mark Waid's Doctor Strange run.
Right.
And I did.
You don't.
But I read all of it. And I just didn't care for it all that much. And there were some highlights for me there and some fun stuff. But there's some people who really enjoyed that, and I'm thrilled. I really am. I'm like, that's great. It's not for me. This really is not for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the plot is really all over the place. It's just, I don't care about anything that's happening, and like I hate that because it's like I do like these characters.
Yeah.
It's just it's not for me, unfortunately. But yeah, I legitimately, if you're reading this and you're loving it, I hope you continue to love it. I hope you enjoy the story. I hope that all 5 issues like knock it out of the park for you. Unfortunately, I think I will be getting off of this train here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What a shame.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's fair. Don't apologize. Like if a book isn't for you,
but
or
like,
you're not enjoying it, or if
I know,
it's deliberately pushing you
like,
away,
trying to be down on it. It's just like,
yeah, you're really dropping on some hot takes here.
I'm just saying, like, it's like we live in a world right now where like everything is freaking expensive.
Yes.
Right. And you know, I want creators to be paid, and I want them to, you know, be able to tell their stories and stuff. But like, I also need to make sure that like I'm watching my budgets and stuff like that. And on a book like this, where it's just not hitting for me, I gotta let it go.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's see here. I read The Ultimates. We're in a similar boat here, which is not surprising. Dennis Camp and Juan Frigeri. This is another one where I'm like, oh, Tiffany might enjoy this until I read it. And I was like, no. You know, what are the Ultimates up to? Well, who cares? Because we're going to check out what Thor and Sif are doing. And because Sif and Thor basically quit the event or the Ultimates and decided we got to deal with the other realms. Like, this is Midgard. That's one place.
That's Asgard.
That's one of the guards. We got to go all kinds of places.
Asgard.
And so, you know, every issue is a month. And so we're focusing on what Thor and Sif are doing during this span. And, you know, the Maker kind of facilitated Loki's rule and the assassination of Odin, and so the realms are in chaos, and Thor was in prison, and Sif was his jailer, and we see that, and on paper, the plot is pretty dope. You know, the whole book is just showcasing Thor and Sif going to other realms, meeting up with people who would have been their allies had things gone according to the original plan, and usurping their overlords and committing war. And Camp is using the book and their strife to talk about, you know, problems within our own society, and how it's not enough to say that you don't agree. Sometimes in order to you don't deal with tyrants, you have to make war with tyrants. And there's a lot of that in there. Camp manages to hide all that or obfuscate it or entertain you using a kind of like poetry throughout the book. There is no like straight dialogue or contemporary narrative. It is all done through rhyme and mythic poem, and describing the deeds of Sif and Thor. If that were done competently, this would be a slam dunk. Unfortunately, it is meandering and it's inconsistent and it's not especially well done. And it reads like a high school poem. I don't want to make anyone feel bad about writing poems in high school, because I think that's the time when you're the most compelled to do it. But I don't know if it was as strong as I think everyone involved in this issue thought it was. But and I think the other issue is like Frigeri is, you know, signed on to do a superhero comic. And this read more like the intent was more like the Asad Ribic Loki book.
Yeah, you needed him. You needed maybe a Walt Simonson.
Yeah, somebody who was just going to give you the kind of like epic scope. Frigeri does a great job competently depicting these characters doing deeds of daring do, and I think it's fantastic.
Could have gotten Mahmoud Asrar.
Right, exactly. They all,
So
everyone on paper does a great job with this book, and they're all doing a fine, competent job.
Sure,
And you know, and again, Camp is weaving contemporary criticism with you know, high-flying superheroic narrative. Good. And it's important, and it's useful, and it's great. It's also a little bit repetitive. Thor and Sif go to a realm. They meet a character that you should recognize. They enlist that character. They defeat the bad guy. And again, because there's no dialogue or there's limited dialogue, it just reads more cyclical. And then, of course, if you're not on board for the device,
the
pros, then you're really only just looking at what's happening. And again, I hate to repeat myself, but like if you just say Thor and Sif reclaim the 9 realms, and in so doing, Thor makes a deal with Surtur to facilitate the destruction of his would-be jailers and perhaps his own adopted home. I'd say I saw that in a movie once. But also, it's a really like great concept that is one of the best images from Frigeri in this book. You know.
Yeah, I get it.
And those who love this series, who can never see anything wrong with it, and I know there's a lot of those folks, they're gonna really enjoy this because it's super special, and it feels, you know, because everyone's trying. Instead of just doing a great job, they're also going like, well, but check this out.
Yeah.
You know? And
I mean, you know, I applaud them for trying something. I didn't read it, but like when creative people try something, yay, I'm glad you are. They're not all going to be successes.
No,
or they're not going to hit the way you think they're going to hit.
Right, and I think they will hit some folks, and you know,
sure.
And I hope it
That's
does.
the nature of art.
Right, exactly. You
know, like
there's, and again, like great ideas.
Yeah,
you know, the idea that like Loki uses trickery and theft to come across as articulate, and when he doesn't have access to it anymore, he's bereft of any ability to really persuade crowds outside of coercion and payment. And maybe that's a subtle criticism of AI. Like I was like, there's a lot of really big ideas, and there's nothing necessarily poorly executed about any of them. They're just not hitting me. I'm just like, that's, you know, it's like when you hear a joke and you go, that is a clever joke when you just told. And like, I would have rather you laughed. And I'm like, me too.
You mean me?
No, that's not true. Sometimes like it that happens, but it's most of the time I'm very delighted by what you have to say.
I mean, like when I like, I'm just like, that's funny. That might be the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your recognition of humor.
I recognize that this is humor.
Yeah, like I recognize that this is a competent comic book, and I'm sure it was also a pain in the ass to write, to execute, to convince the editors, to make. You know, I can imagine that there was a lot of effort. And I can imagine Camp being really proud of it. He makes a comment on social media, Camp does, about how this is a really horny book, but it could have been hornier had editorial let him get away with it. I sensed virtually no horniness whatsoever in this book. Now, again, I'm not meta reading this. I'm not like, I was promised horniness and I didn't get it.
Maybe he meant like Loki's horns.
Yeah, sure. Those are prevalent throughout.
Well, maybe that was a joke.
I don't think so.
I recognize that as humor.
Yeah.
my humor sense is going off. That is a funny joke.
Yeah, so you know, top marks.
Yeah.
But no movement.
Okay. What do you want to talk about now?
I guess we got to talk about Absolute Batman.
That's the top one.
Everyone here.
Well, I thought we were gonna do Amazing Spider-Man.
Everybody wants to hear about us talk about Amazing Spider-Man. We can just talk about Batman really quick because, like,
okay.
I don't think this is I know this is the thumbnail, but I don't think anybody is here for this over Spider-Man.
I think people are here for this.
Well, I'm sure they are, but I bet they're here for Spider-Man. Right. But Absolute Batman. This is
Scott
continuing
Snyder.
the theme of multiple parts, like little breaks,
little mini breaks.
But yeah, Marcos Martin.
Yep, and Scott
Snyder with Batman, Absolute Batman number 7.
Yeah,
this is the fallout of Batman having revealed his identity to his plucky friends, who are also would-be Arkham fodder, and we see kind of like where everyone is. Alfred is away, but is also like, hey, I'm definitely in. I'm in on helping you out. I'll be back. Here's what you should do. Batman, of course, ignores it and doesn't do any of those things, which is par for the course with this duality. We find out that there was another elusive member of their team.
Yep.
Matches Malone was a real character, real person. And he was a character that we didn't see earlier, but is part of this little plucky band, and he's dead.
Yeah.
And the team is kind of like wondering what happened. And Bruce is kind of like, I happened. And it's not that Bruce turned him in, it's that Bruce inadvertently got him killed because Matches was an informant for him and gave him the information he needed. And unfortunately, he paid the price. He is actually a facilitator. He gets some IDs, he gets some jobs on crews and stuff.
To do any of that.
He was not. He overstepped his bound.
Well, that's what we get from him. Like, they played Truth or Dare. It involved like flicking matches.
Yep.
Which is really funny because we were watching a Twin Peaks episode where they also mentioned that.
Yeah, and they were flicking matches, and I'm like, oh, hey, wow.
But that, like, anytime that he would, like, he always would get it because he was like the best at it, but he would always choose himself to do the dare. So, like, like, obviously he pieced together that whatever Bruce was doing was dangerous, so he did it himself.
Right.
Adrenaline junkie. I don't know. How'd you feel about Matches Malone being
like a real person?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would never have done it. Like, I would never have thought that this is an idea to have.
Yeah.
But I also would not ever be surprised in this reality that Bruce never became Matches Malone as an alternative because he's unmistakably Bruce Wayne. Like, because of Brick Shithouse. Like, like Bruce put on a mustache and now he's something. No. I know exactly who you are.
Yeah.
That said, no one knows who Bruce Wayne is because Bruce Wayne isn't a socialite. So it's like, but also, I'm never going to forget the 9-foot-tall, 600-pound like brick refrigerator.
Yeah. So it's really like, I don't know why, but like, and of all of the changes, this is the one that I was like, this bothers me.
You don't like the idea of the matches.
I don't know why, right? Like, it's not anything that makes me not like the book. It's just something that, all right, hear me out on this. It like reminds me that this is all an exercise to try to make this world different.
Yes.
From regular Batman.
Oh, sure.
Which is really, I'm like, no.
Like, it's, I see the thread, and I'm sure you do too. The Scott's like, I need an informed up. Matches, but
he's telling a little story, and he's it's got a whole thing, right? It's like fire and ice going on here. Mm-hmm. Again, this does not change the book for me. It doesn't change how I feel about the series. It was just one of those things that I was like, I don't know if I like this.
Yeah.
Why are you a person?
Right. The crew is disappointed in Batman for having become Batman without them, and whatever. It's like, we'll see. We were promised some kind of reaction in the previous story or issue. We barely get it in this. Like, it's more that I think Scott wants to save that, which I'm at least appreciative that we don't gloss over it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We also still haven't seen Selina's reaction,
right?
Which I'm very excited to see.
Right.
So yeah, he gets on a crew because he wants to find out more about this, this company and the death of Matches and all this stuff. So he's working this out because also there's a project, and this is where I'm like, what are you doing? Where they're working on, and I love the concept, and I love the idea of them creating this kind of like island with this psychiatric prison, and they're calling it Arc M, and I'm like, all right, come on. Like, I don't know what that's like. I know that it's like something, and I don't have an example from my head right now, but it's just like silly. And is that silly? Really? Not really, but also,
you like that a building is a puppet.
I like that a building's a puppet. but I don't like the idea that like Arkham is
That's
accidentally
fine.
and inadvertently called Arc M
I
as
don't
opposed
like
to Arc
that
5.
Matches Malone is a real person. So
Exactly.
but it doesn't like diminish the book.
No, none of these problems actually diminish the book in any way. And Martin is a worthy successor. I like what Martin's doing more than other artists who have dropped in on this book. I think Martin fits better with the Darrington style. I'm sorry, the Dragotta style. That said, neither artist who filled in for Dragotta were bad in any way. In fact, top flight, belonged on a AAA book like this. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for Mr. Freeze. And so we get a little flashback about who Mr. Freeze was and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, his parents were going on expedition when he was a kid. And then he fell ill. And we found out that he had like a debilitating disease. And they were doing research on the ice. And we find that Martin, you know, Matches later on, you know, in the present is killed by a debilitating disease. And you're like, okay, I see where this is going immediately. And I was like happy. And I had that moment where I'm like, I saw where you were going as you were telling the story. And I'm like happy, but only because I saw it.
Right.
You know, like, oh, you're going to, because there's the implication that like there are old diseases preserved in the ice and Victor's using them. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Right.
But yeah, so in this case, Mr. Freeze is like he administers, he's Mr. Bloom with diseases. And it's like, okay.
Who is done with Mr. Bloom? We're not done.
Yeah, good. You loved Mr. Bloom.
I did. I really did. So
I mean, he's Gordon's villain, but whatever.
So hang on. I have notes.
All right, let's hear
them. I wrote notes. And I want to say that because someone mentioned something that I wanted to say in chat, but I'm like, no, I have notes on this.
Yeah, I want to address this.
I want to address it. I have notes. I've got receipts.
Yeah.
There are two like major splash pages in this that both like are like horrific looking.
Yeah.
And it immediately upon seeing Match's face when he dies, I was just like, right, Snyder's an Ito fan. Snyder likes Junji Ito.
Yes.
And I felt like Match's death is a reference to Holes by Ito. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And that the Mr. Freeze reveal immediately made me think of either just generally Ito inspired or maybe a little bit of Fashion Model, which is like kind of a weird thing for me to make a connection with, but that's what my brain thought of. I was like, are you doing like Fashion Model on us here? I don't know. I know it's not, but I don't know. I completely had forgotten until like that reveal. And I was like, oh my God, right. The Amigara fault in one of the Justice League books that he was doing. I just didn't see it coming. That we would be like, oh, and let's throw in some Junji Ito. And I'm like, yes, thank you.
But if ever you're going to, you do it with a horror-based villain like this, or your horror take on a Batman villain like this.
Yeah, no, and it's true. But like, even to see it, like, obviously, I'm gonna guess that he talked with Martin.
Right.
I was like, I'm thinking this.
Yeah,
like,
I'm picturing this. Go for it.
Right.
Yeah. The concept of like Mr. Freeze being the younger offspring of like the Victor Freeze character,
Victor and Nora,
works for me. I'm actually down for it. The visual, the reveal of his parents still being under the ice, clearly dead, or at the very least emaciated. Like it's just like
they're frozen.
Yeah, right.
They're fine.
No, they're not. None of them
obviously
are.
We are doing a little like Ito horror or just horror in general, but the idea that like Freeze was like, I knew what was happening. Like I was aware of what was happening while I was frozen. And I'm just like,
that's horrific. Yeah.
Like, but that's very Amigara fault in a way where you could go in the hole and like, you're just there and then you come out the other side. And who the hell knows what happened to you, but you're very aware of it.
It could also just be that he was going straight with Amigara. Cause like when you see Freeze, he's all twisted and stuff. And
it could be that.
It could be going with that. Or it's just all of it. Like maybe Snyder was only thinking Amigara, but Martin was like, well, I read all of it. So I'm putting it all in there. There's going to be some weird like balloon people in this pretty soon. But yeah,
as long as you don't go greased, I'm fine.
No, I dug it, and I'm like, this is fine. You know, I was like enthralled. Did I love it? I can't say I was enthralled, but I was just enjoying a competently made comic.
I actually liked it more the more time I had away from it. Like when I was first reading it, I was just like, okay, cool, yeah, whatever. Like Grim Darth, okay, we're pushing it to the edge, whatever. And then like obviously I processed all the Ito stuff, and then afterwards I was just like, no, I think I actually enjoyed that. Like, sometimes I need that time away from a book. Sometimes immediately I'm like, oh, I love this.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
Oh yeah.
And other times I'm like, yeah. And then later on I'm like, you know what? I think I actually did enjoy that. Occasionally I'm like, no, I didn't.
No.
We talked about that.
But in this case, I do. I dug it. I enjoy it. And I think it's a fantastic little break between. And I'm excited to see where it goes. That's all I really have to say
Oh,
about it.
absolutely. No, I'm
You
with you. And like, we only have one more issue of this,
Yeah.
and I'm like, are we killing this villain? Like, what are we
Right?
just gonna let him go?
Yeah.
Like
I
the
don't know.
last guy you had, like, yes, his family had like weird tentacles, but they had a lot of guns. Like this man may or may not have actual like weird powers.
Well,
I
and that's
don't
the
know.
thing, right? Batman's going to fight an actual powered villain,
Yeah.
and that'll be neat to see.
He'll be like, okay, this is not for me.
He'll be like, what?
Alfred,
Yeah.
come back.
So that's cool.
Yeah,
You know? All
I
right.
agree.
Yeah. I'm hyped. We'll see how it goes.
Yay, someone in our chat is from Scotland. That's cool. I like to go to Scotland.
Hello. And finally, the
Yes.
Amazing Spider-Man _1 from Joe Kelly with
Number
a bevy of characters, including Pepe Larraz, John Romita Jr., and so forth. This is a big old issue that is relaunching Spider-Man. More or less, it's if you were reading the previous one, you get a similar tone, but like relaunching Spider-Man. It's a full-blown.
Mhm.
You know, Joe Kelly was originally not going to do the ongoing series. He was only going to do the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. So, you know, I think Pepe Larraz probably already lined up. And then when everyone said no, they went with this, and Joe Kelly is like, fine. And
Yeah,
so
what
here
else?
we go. Yeah, so it's Brand New Day Part 2. Electric Boogaloo. Pete's looking for a fresh start, so he, you know, applies for jobs and fights the Rhino, and there's a big mystery afoot. And you know, that's like a classic kind of concept to go for. We also get a little check-in on Norman Osborn. No, he's not still Green Goblin. He's still a good guy, and he's trying his best. And you know, obviously Nick Lowe doesn't read his own material, so he doesn't remember that, like, you know, while Norman Osborn was known to be Green Goblin and has killed people before, he also worked out this whole thing where he wasn't, and people didn't know. And then there was a book, and there was this whole like, wasn't he hearsay kind of thing. And so it's very interesting to see like how Marvel juggles their own continuity. Lord knows anymore. So I can't even fault the story for having a character go like, you killed my sister or whoever it was, and him being like, nah, I don't care. And but I'll redouble
like,
my
"But
efforts to
did
be a
I?"
good guy. And it's like, yeah,
Sure.
all right, whatever. Romita Jr. was you know, used to some effect. I think, you know, it was funny thinking about how he had done those covers for Daredevil, and then looking back on his run like with Ann Nesenti and being like, oh yeah, I guess Romita Jr. is like just as much a Daredevil artist as he is a Spider-Man artist. So it's like, it's interesting to see, like, you know, him being so heavily criticized on the Spider-Man runs that he's done over the last couple of years, and yet rarely talked about when it comes to Daredevil. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. You're here to talk about Amazing Spider-Man,
Yes.
and the relaunch. And yeah, so how'd you like it?
So like, all right, so this is like an interesting part of the show where we have like a long time Spider-Man reader who like is like favorite character, beloved character. And then you have someone who's like, occasionally I will read a Spider-Man book, or usually an Ultimate Spider-Man book.
Yep.
And that's kind of it for me. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But I was like, you know what? I read the 8 Deaths because of Joe Kelly, and then it wasn't really Joe Kelly's book. So obviously I was gonna at least read the first issue of this with Joe Kelly, because I was like, let's see why we couldn't write 8 Deaths of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And so from that perspective of someone who has less history with this character, I hate to say it, but it felt like a fine start.
Right.
Like I was like, this was fun. And I enjoyed myself. I had a good time. But I also have to admit that I probably won't be keeping up with this book.
Yeah.
So I'm less invested. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Cool.
Right.
Like, this was a competent story. Yay.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not in it for like the long haul where I'm going to be like, but where are you going with this?
Right.
I'm just kind of like, this looked pretty, and Joe Kelly wrote nice words. And I like his you know, his characterizations.
Sure, yeah. There's some nice interplay between Pete and Aunt May. We see a lot of Randy. Man, these guys love Randy. But Randy, and he's doing something with art, and you know, good for them. And yeah, and you know, that's it. I mean, there's not much there. It actually was seemingly pretty shallow when it came to how much was going on in this debut.
Yeah.
But we do get some great Pepe Larraz art. Like, this is halfway there, or it's a third there, where I'm like, Amazing Spider-Man is your highest selling book on a regular monthly basis. You must get one of your top staff artists on this book. like on a regular basis. And Pepe Larraz, we've seen, thanks to the X-Men series, like that he's done,
He's phenomenal.
is great and can keep doing it. It's not like Pepe
Yes.
Larraz is going to need like 6 months time off, like we can see that Larraz could probably continue to do this book for a while. Like the book will look good.
Is this coming out twice a month?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know if it's
Hopefully not.
bi-monthly.
Hopefully
We need
it's
to
just
we need to drop that.
Go
Like
back
the
to monthly.
bi-monthly thing needs to stop. And when I say bi-monthly, because people don't know and it's interchangeably used, sometimes it means twice a month and sometimes it means every other month. And I think we need to go with every month. So instead, drop the bi-monthly thing completely and just go monthly. That you need to stop. Like it was already unsustainable monthly. It's time to stop doing that. And just put more book in and charge a little more. I'm sorry. That's it. But yeah, Larraz is a great choice, and I'm sure they're enjoying the run. Beautiful sequences. There's a great reveal at the end where Pete's being affected by this like heart attack medicine or some shit that like makes him see all the villains. It's like, wow, that's awesome. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
He fights the Rhino in a spectacular looking sequence. And the quiet like human moments. Those are also spectacularly rendered.
That's funny. I thought, like, for me, it was like the reveal of what villain we seem to be focused on. I was like, that was really well done.
Oh yeah, Hobgoblin. Yeah, that's
with
great.
The glass.
Yeah, that's great. I love that too. No, it was just Larraz has had a great run at Marvel doing epic shit, and getting this is like a smart move. Pete going on interviews, not being able to, he's a man-child. I mean, like, what do you want? Like, that's what he is and has always been, at least for the last 20 years. There's nothing else you can do. There's nothing you can do about it. Like, as long as those who are in charge continue to be in charge, that's what he's going to be. So it's like, you're either going to choose to read the book and enjoy it or not. And those are your options. Although apparently a majority of the readership has chosen a third option, which is to just buy it and don't care. But anyway, we're also establishing we're retconning his past. He was a troublemaker with this guy, which is, there's no way and there's no room. There's no possible way that happened. But you know what? Like, hey, Pete's got an old friend who made good and helped him out and give him a job. Like, okay, you know what? Like, that's such a Joe Kelly thing to do. I'm like, makes sense. I completely buy it.
I actually really liked that. I'm sure you don't like it for his character. I just thought it was really cute. I was like, yeah, like let Peter have a childhood.
Oh yeah. No, I think we all have like a weird, very like what seemed like a long but actually was not period of our life where we were like a hellraiser, and Peter was one of those with this kid.
But
and
it seems
like
it was fairly benign.
It was. Oh yeah.
That guy.
Yes, exactly. It was bad influence.
Yeah, and that's what I liked. Is that Aunt May's like,
no, I don't like that boy. Yeah,
no,
it's cute. Like, and it's that's fine. Like, whatever. It's better. It's actually less egregious than when JMS, creator Babylon 5, introduced a character during Skin Deep, where it was like, there was just nope, this doesn't fit. There was no character like that. There's no room. There's no time. You didn't do any research. That character should not exist. They don't exist. No.
Right.
Like, I when I tell people to read JMS like runs, I'm like, and skip Skin Deep. Like, it's wholly unnecessary. Like, what happens at Aunt May's house? There's a fire. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about what Skin Deep character did, because it's just reductive. It doesn't do anything.
Right.
And this is less egregious than that.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's fine. It looks great.
It really does look great, and that is, I think, for a lot of people, what will convince them to keep purchasing it, even if they're not vibing with the story. What helps for me is that, like, Kelly is a competent writer, regardless of if you feel like it's the same thing you've seen again.
Right.
Like, he's a competent writer, which could be enough for a lot of people. And if there are actually people who are just like newer to the book, it's going to be one of those things where they're like, wow, this is amazing. Like, no one's ever, I've never seen anything like this before. And it's like, well, it's because you haven't been reading like the past, like whatever many years of story.
Yep.
I feel like in the wake of 8 Deaths, though, it like kind of feels like we're all wondering if Kelly will stick with this book.
Yeah. Are you going to pass the buck to Ireland again? Or are you just going to write the book yourself? Because like,
Or like,
I'm not here to read your ideas through a lens of someone else that I didn't buy.
right. But I would also say that it's like with Joe Kelly, he's also like a prolific writer in other areas of non-comic books. So like if he starts getting like an unnecessary amount of hate, regardless, like, because here's the thing, folks, if you don't like the book, please don't go and attack the creators.
Yeah, leave them
Like,
alone.
and I mean physically, I mean verbally, I mentally, whatever you want to do, just don't. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like
They
don't
will.
be-
I mean, like the reality
I
is, no matter
know, but
who's writing Spider-Man, they're going to get death threats, and it's
yeah,
like
Spider-Man.
that's the reality. Spider-Man would be so disappointed in most people for like
Spider-Man
their
himself
reactions.
could write his own book, and they'd be like,
That's
"This guy
not what
doesn't-
happened."
This guy doesn't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't know.
Yep. Also, I haven't read Spider-Man in 30 years.
But you know what I mean? Like, if people start giving him a hard time, he could be like, "I'm good.
Right. Oh, well,
Bye.
I don't need
I don't
this.
need this."
I don't need this. I'm being paid criminally low. I get all the hate and all the crap,
Yeah.
and I do well, and I don't need it. Bye.
Yeah.
Like there's every reason to say no to writing Amazing Spider-Man, and virtually no good reason to write Amazing Spider-Man.
Right. And because here's the thing, it's like they're all people, and it's like you may not be happy with it. Like you might be like, you know what, I really don't like what Zeb Wells did. I don't like what he did.
No, it's awful.
And you could not like it, and you can say you don't like it, and you can talk about people how much you don't like
right,
it.
but you don't need to like attack him
Yeah, you
or
don't
like tell him you're gonna
threaten
kill
them.
him.
And I don't think our chat has those.
No, they're not.
And I'm not educating any of you because I think you already know this, but I just want to put it out in the world. It's like not worth it.
Yep.
And Joe Kelly is a genuinely nice human being who I cried in front of one time.
That's right.
So in particular, I am asking you please not to attack him if you don't like this book. He's a genuinely nice human being.
Yeah.
Like,
and he had a great YouTube channel. I don't know if he does any anymore, but
yeah, he really did. He really did.
Good guy.
Really quickly, the Roz. Here's the sentence I wrote about Laraz, which I'm realizing I maybe I did it in humor. I wrote, Laraz is simply spectacular on this book, just amazing.
He's web up.
Like he's born to draw Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Like everything I loved about Laraz from Krakoa is like amplified here because Spider-Man gets to be high flying.
Yeah.
You know, because Spider-Man is like such an iconic character. Not that the X-Men aren't, not that like Cyclops isn't or Professor X, but there is something truly iconic about Spider-Man and his form and his action and what he's capable of doing. And Laraz just feels like he's having so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what's your book of the week?
I think if I give it to Spider-Man, everybody's gonna get mad at me, but the art was really good. So I guess I'm gonna go absolute Batman.
Oh, okay. That's fair. I mean, you could give it to Spider-Man if you want to.
Nah, I'll give it to Batman.
All right, absolute Batman. I myself will not. Instead, I'm going to give it to Batman Dark Patterns.
It's double Batman.
Wow, who'd have thought?
Double bats. We got a whole cave of bats over here.
That's
on
right.
ComicPop Returns.
Yep, and I'm sure Scott Snyder knows what that's called. So let's talk about let's read some super chats. Here we go. Hulkzilla says, work night for me, but I wanted to stop by and wish everyone well. Thanks, Hulkzilla.
Oh, thank you so much. BK Sakuga says, I'm absolutely loving the return videos of Sal, Ethan, and Ben discussing other topics. Back issues, but different, which there was one every week.
Thank you.
Obviously, what BK's talking about is the podcast that Sal, Ben, and Ethan do called No Comic Required.
That's right. That's right. Check it out. BK Saguga also says, maybe just me, but Ultimate sometimes feels like a speed run. A lot of major characters already revealed to be dead or not present, at least in Ultimates. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you could feel like Camp is just doing, he's just cleaning house for Hickman sometimes.
Sean Technomizer Conwell, I assume I have to tell you how to read it. Says, hey guys, got a new bookshelf, trying to find comics to fill it. Getting Hellions and Sword from Krakoa, great choice, Era. Any recommendations for Marvel/DC? I like anything cosmic, magic, monsters, Elseworlds related.
Well, I know Tiffany might recommend, there's a great Elseworlds series that just wrapped up and is now available either in hardcover or softback, which is the Green Lantern book.
Oh, that was really fun. Yeah.
Green Lantern Dark, I believe.
I was gonna say, if you haven't picked up in Marvel, go check out Gods.
Gods, yes, you will enjoy.
If you
Gods.
like magic, pick up Strange Academy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have a good time. I would check out Cy Spurrier's run on Constantine.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're gonna enjoy the heck out of that.
Yep.
A lot of folks, I didn't get a chance to actually finish reading it, unfortunately. Sorry. But a lot of folks really enjoyed Rom V's Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing, yes.
They just wrapped up a really fun Zatanna book called Zatanna Bringing Down the House.
Yeah.
There's also Doctor Strange False Sunrise.
Yeah, which is great.
That's
enough, I think. Yeah.
If you like monsters, you could check out Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, or you could get what was it? Monster. What was that? What was the big Marvel event?
Monsters Unleashed.
Monsters Unleashed. Thank you. I was like Monster Verse. No, damn it.
Yeah.
Monsters Unleashed.
Right.
For sure. Yeah. That's what I got.
Your boy Chips Ahoy says Morrison just confirmed on their Substack that they're doing a big team up project and that it's a part of Big Two. What are the odds it's the new crossover? I mean, wouldn't that be something if like they decided that Grant effing Morrison was writing the next Marvel DC crossover?
That's what it says on their business card.
Right.
Grant
effing Morrison. There's no way that they wouldn't like that. But yeah, I mean that makes sense to me.
That'd be cool.
That would be good money to put on it. I would say like I'll read it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about that. Morrison said that the Marvel Universe is on the other side of the source wall. So like
that'd be like a really good fit.
Yeah. Works for me. So I'm in.
Someone else mentioned the Oath. Yes, obviously. It goes without saying you pick up any Doctor Strange stuff. But I was trying to think of some more kind of current
newer
things.
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Deadpoolzilla.
Oh wait, also just check out Moon Knight.
Oh yeah, just read the
Jed McKay
on Moon Knight and just read it from beginning to end.
It's probably a little less supernatural, but there is some supernatural.
Yeah. There's vampires and shit in there.
God, vampires and shit. Because vampires. Why not? Is this me?
Yep.
Deadpoolzilla saying hi. Speaking of Scarface story potential, there's a great Batman story. I'm gonna take this again. Take two. Hi. Speaking of Scarface story potential, there's a great Batman fan film on here called Batman Broken Promises with him and a great version of Two-Face.
Cool. I'll give it a look. Maybe. Thank you very much. I don't know if I'll remember. I'll try.
All right. Well, I mean, how could you forget me messing that up?
That's fair. I always do. Lenny Laserdiscs. I dropped off the Amazing Spider-Man book about 5 years ago. Ultimate Spider-Man's filling that void for me. Take Sal's advice and drop stuff you're not enjoying.
100%.
Hey, or Tiffany's advice because she's dropping the Doctor Strange book.
I am.
I agree, Lenny.
Which is privately killing me.
That's the thing. Like no one's holding the gun to your head. You don't have to buy things you don't like.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not impressing anybody. Those publishers do not care about you.
For sure. Secret Boss saying I've been TFAW. Oh, Things from Another World. Sorry. I've been a Things from Another World customer for a long time and sad they're closing. Any recommendations for online pre-ordering?
I mean, unfortunately, there aren't a ton of options for online pre-ordering that will ship to your house. But there are a few. I know that Midtown Comics does. I wouldn't be surprised if Forbidden Planet does, but I don't know. And right now, actually, I get my books shipped to me from Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash in Red Bank, New Jersey. If you are interested, you can always go through previewsworld.com and set up your account / pre-ordering system more or less through there. You gotta set up a pull list through that website and then contact Jay and Bob's and they'll set it all up for you. And then they'll just send you an invoice and ship out your books.
Nice.
Jay Sage says, missed too many shows, so I took tomorrow off to hang out. Watched the Alias Back Issues episode recently. You broke down this series very well. Hidden gem. Thanks, Jay Sage. I appreciate it.
That's awesome.
That was a great book.
Enjoy your day off.
Yeah, exactly. You owe it to yourself.
Enjoy your day off. I want to give a quick mention too that like last time we did the show, somebody gave us a super chat so that I could get the orange Venom suit, and we did.
Yes. You can see it in action on youtube.com/@ComicPop Plays.
We did.
We were
twerking it up.
That's right.
I ended up playing him too because I was like, I guess I had to play.
I gotta play him. Yeah. You paid for his.
I'm not great with him, but I was getting a feel for it a little bit. Everyone's like, you got to dive, and I'm like, I am the world's worst dive player.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a dive player.
No, but you are a hell diver player.
I am. Oh baby.
I'm surprised we haven't done that yet.
What?
That we streamed all of us playing Helldivers.
I think I did one time. Did I not?
No. So here's some books that are coming out this week that we think you should check out. Detective Comics still continues to be a readable series. I'm excited to see that. Batman Superman World's Finest is also coming out.
Oh boy. Absolute Flash #2. I really like the first issue of this, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Ultimate Wolverine #4. I really enjoyed the 3rd issue the most out of all of them. So I don't know.
Right. Wonder 120. I got to catch back up on this. And I am still reading Wolverine 8, so I'll check that out as well. Ninja Turtles 8 is also coming out.
I also wanted to just give a quick shout out. I didn't really get a chance to talk about it too much because I completely forgot. But I actually did read a little bit of Godzilla Heist.
Oh,
or
yes.
whatever it is. I read both issues. It's fun. It's a little like sillier than I was expecting for a Godzilla book. I don't know why. But interesting idea.
Right.
You know, it's just like in a world where it's like Godzilla exists, like to try to utilize him to have a heist.
I love that idea.
You know, like literally, it's like you get a team, and it's like son of a, I'm in, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like one guy's playing chess, everyone else is playing checkers, that kind of thing.
Of course.
I also recently had played a demo of Monaco 2, which is a fun like heist video game, so I couldn't help but think about that too. I was like, maybe I was just in the right mindset for that.
Fair.
The art's really fun. It's really fun to see Godzilla. He's just like annoyed about everything. And I'm like, dude, I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you, Godzilla.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a really good time for Godzilla fans.
Yes.
I feel like
you're
comics,
eating good.
Whether you're looking forward to the Justice League versus Kong or Godzilla versus Kong 2 that's going to be coming out in June from DC, or if you're just like reading any of the IDW stuff, IDW's got a lot coming out in terms of Godzilla content, and they're going to be really your main source for it.
And there's going to be Marvel crossovers.
Oh, I know, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
But they're your direct source for Godzilla.
Yeah. Like they will consistently have a Godzilla book. So if you're interested in that, I'd go back and check out their backlog as well. And also, yes, Marvel is doing a whole bunch of crossovers, taking place during different time periods.
That's right. We just dropped one, Godzilla versus Fantastic Four.
That's right.
And we're getting a Spider-Man one and Hulk.
But it's just interesting. Like there are definitely people out there who are like fans of Godzilla and they want to read more. So it's
you're eating good,
my friend. New Gods #5 is coming out. I'm caught up on this. Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Last time you hadn't read it. Zatanna #3 is coming out. This is Jamal Campbell's book. It is the best looking book. I swear. It's so good. Look, that's not true. It's just probably the best looking book this week.
That's fair.
Go ahead.
Summer Superman #1 is dropping. That's going to be a special, let's check out what's going on with Superman.
Oh, not the Summer Sam?
Not the Summer Sam. This is going to have different writers on it. It's going to have Joshua Williamson, but also Mark Wade. You're going to get Jorge Jimenez's art on there, which is also a great choice. Going to be a lot of fun. Check that out.
Dan Slott?
Yeah, Dan Slott has taken over for a new Superman series.
Dang.
And so, he's joined the Superman world.
Like sneak peek. Is that probably not a bad way to find out if you're going to be interested in that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's another Sonic versus DC book coming out.
Oh, that's right.
Are you gonna read that?
Oh yes, I'll be reading DC X Sonic the Hedgehog #2.
Excellent.
As well as, of course, Godzilla versus Hulk #1.
Say that one. I was the one who just talked about Godzilla and you took it.
Okay.
You're a monster. You're the kaiju on the show.
All right.
Well, keep moving. I was like, I'm gonna do it. Nope. No, I'm not. Nope, it's gone. Oh my gosh, they're putting out a Superman Day All-Star Superman Special Edition #1. So if you missed out on that and you want to check out more, you can check that out. I didn't know they were doing a Mothra book.
Yeah, remember I read the first issue.
Oh yeah, issue 2.
Yeah,
well,
Mothra, Queen of the Monsters. Because I'm good, you can read that.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they're doing a lot of special editions. Like,
there's
a Superman for all seasons.
Yeah.
That's great. So if you are looking for more Superman stuff, or it's something maybe you want to pick up for like, a younger reader in your life, you can maybe check it. Maybe not All-Star.
No, probably. No, it's fine.
And Zdarsky Comic News #10 will be coming out. This one's about Joe Kelly. I will never be able to get a copy of this.
Nope.
But I'd like one.
We would.
I'd like just one copy.
Yeah. No. None of our comic book stores have it.
Dang. Yay. All right. This is like a good week where it's not a ton of stuff.
No, but
I
enough.
have a bunch.
We can actually talk about books. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
So, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Of course, we will see you guys next time in another episode. But make sure to check out Tiffany on youtube.com/@ComicPop Plays or twitch.tv/ComicPop. And that's it.
No, it isn't.
Oh, Jay Sage says ASM was really fun this week, along with Storm and the Cosmic War brewing, Hulk and Aquaman going very horror lore heavy paths. Good day, Elsa and Hal.
I love
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I saw the Aquaman book and I just can't bring myself to read Aquaman right now. I don't know why. I probably just read a Fishman book. Namor was really good.
Namor was great.
Namor was great. But if it's going horror, listen.
The
The sea is a scary place.
You want to do an Aquaman horror book? I got one already on the shelf for you. You can read that one.
Sea is a scary place, people.
That's true.
I'm one of those people.
You go into the ocean, you enter the food chain. You know that's.
Well, no, but that's different. Like that's fine. It's like when it's really deep, that's really scary. I'm that person. It has that thing. There's like a specific name for that. Like that fear of like not liking that type of deep water. I don't like it in games, and I don't like it in real life.
That's fair. Well, thanks a lot for being here, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show, and thanks to the chat for being respectful and cool. We'll see you guys next time. So long, everybody.
Bye.